There's a great number of audio tasks that we can achieve with a compressor, and even more with a dual-mode dynamic processing unit, that is, 2 compressors. The 2 compressors in one we're going to talk about today are the regular mode, that is a digital P compressor, and the bus mode, that's an analog style RMS compressor, both included in SphereComp. Hi everyone and welcome, I hope you're doing well. My name is ThomC and today we're going to be talking about the SphereComp by W.A Production. SphereComp is meant to handle multiple dynamic tasks, from having a smooth and clean response on individual instruments or a more coloured sound on buses. In this video we'll check out SphereComp on a variety of instruments but also on stereo tracks. Let's check it out.
You and I, a delicate rise, I'll never feel.
Let's take a look at the user interface of the SphereComp. So at the top of the plugin we've got some presets. We've actually got 45 presets, from stereo bus to mastering, drums, guitar, vocal, orchestra, synth, bass and sidechain. Then we've got the metering settings here. Then on the plugin itself, we've got the input, threshold, ratio, output, attack and release control. So these are pretty standard. And then we've got the bus compressor control here that we'll take a look at in a moment. We've also got an auto gain control. Then at the bottom of the plugin, we've got a stereo control, so we can set the plugin to be stereo or mono. We've got a sidechain control here. Then punch. The punch control basically uses parallel processing to add punch to the signal, and that goes after the input control. So if you drive the input signal more, you actually get more punch. And then you've got a saturate control that adds tube saturation, and that is also after the input control. We've got a clean setting that makes the plugin, the compression even cleaner, and we can combine those 3 for even more, choices of character. And then we've got a soft clipping control that is after the output control. So if we drive the output more, we'll get more distortion from the soft clipping that basically rounds off the signal at the very end of the chain. And then we've got a bypass control to bypass the plugin, and also a dry and wet control to use parallel processing. So if we click on the bus compressor, we basically have got a familiar interface. The controls are the same, except that we've got some stepped controls for the ratio, attack and release, and we've got an auto release setting as well. So we'll start off by listening to some drums with the regular compressor, which is basically a P compressor. The bus compressor is an RMS compressor, but we'll focus on the P compressor for now. And the attack is mid-slow, the release is pretty fast, and the ratio is 3:1. I've activated the punch and saturate as well as the soft clipping controls for this example. When the top left corner of the plugin is yellow, the plugin is bypassed, and when it's grey, it's active. Let's listen to this first example. So in the next example, I've set the compressor to compress a lot more than 10 dB of compression. And I've set the attack to be faster, and the release is faster as well. And I've also pushed the input a bit more and lowered the output, and activated the punch, saturate and soft clipping controls. The thing is that I've just added a bit of that very much compressed signal underneath the dry one with the dry and wet control. The purpose of this example is to get more body out of the drums by smashing them with compression, and then keep some of the transients with the dry and wet control. I've set the ratio at 5:1 in this case. For the next example, I've used a song of mine called The Extra Mile from my album Hypothermic Love that you'll find in the description. I've set the attack at 20 milliseconds and the release at 50 milliseconds. And the thing in this case was to bring a bit more glue to the overall song. So I've used a stereo track in order to do that. And I've set the dry and wet knob at halfway, so 12 o'clock. So also what you'll see in this example is that the ratio will be going from 2:1 to 4:1 and 6:1, so that you can compare the three settings. Let's listen to it. In the next example, we'll be listening to another one of my songs called O.V.E.R.A.G.A.I.N from my album Hypothermic Love that you'll find in the description as well. I've set the attack to 10 milliseconds and the release to 50 milliseconds. And this time the dry and wet knob is set all the way to wet. So basically when the compression is on, you'll actually hear it 100%. And you'll again see the plugin being turned on and off.
Stop giving me things I don't want to try. It's never too late to change directions, even if they're not the ones they wanted to take. I do it over again. Not living my life to please. I'm not living my life to please.
This example is more of a metal example that I've made for Venus Symphonic Women's Choir by Soundiron, and you'll find the review of that sample library on my channel and in the description. I've set the attack at 10 milliseconds, the release at 100 milliseconds this time, and the ratio is at 4:1. And I've also driven the input gain a bit more in order to get more punch and saturation. As you'll see, it's activated at the bottom of the plugin. Let's listen to it. So the next example is more of a stoner rock example. And in this case, I'd like you to pay attention to the attack time in particular that I've automated towards the end. You'll see it moving from 10 to 20 to 40 to 80 milliseconds. And what I'd like you to really listen to is the changes between 20 milliseconds and 10 milliseconds and see how the punch of the track changes. Well, I don't know about you, but to me it feels like 20 milliseconds isn't quite grabbing the transients enough, and 10 is doing it too much. I don't know if you have the same feeling, and if you do, or if you don't, please comment in the description and let me know what you think. So maybe it's a matter of taste, but to me, I'd really like to be able to go between those two settings to really set the attack setting right. So for the next example, this is a vintage swing example where I've set the attack at 40 milliseconds and the release at 300 milliseconds to showcase the smoother side of the compressor and a more gentle compression with a ratio of 2:1. So in the next example, I've used the digital peak compressor to compress an acoustic guitar. I could have used the RMS compressor, but I think that this one fitted the attack, the transients of the guitar a bit better. I've set the ratio at 3:1 and the attack and release are medium, and I've also set the clean button in the bottom to have a cleaner style of compression, and also the dry and wet knob is halfway. Let's listen to it. Now we'll listen to a bass guitar, and I've set the input gain all the way to the top in order to be able to hear a bit of the saturation. But I must admit that it's quite subtle, and you'll tell me what you think in the comment section. I've set the ratio at 5:1, and the attack is mid-slow and the release is fast. So now we'll be listening to my voice from the song The Extra Mile, and I've used the peak compressor in order to grab the transients a bit more.
Do you remember my voice? My fear is not to make an unexpected choice. No one wants to be alone. No one wants to be alone.
Let's now compare a selected portion without compression, then with the peak compressor, and then with the bus compressor. I've tried to set both compressors to similar settings. Listen to how the peak compressor really reacts more on the peaks than the RMS compressor.
My fear is not to make an unexpected choice. My fear is not to make an unexpected choice. My fear is not to make an unexpected choice.
So yeah, I've got a few things to say about these compressors. I would like to say that I prefer the digital peak compressor, and I really usually love, analog style compression and O.V.E.R.A.G.A.I.N simulations of compressors of the analog world. I feel like I've got better alternatives of VCA compressors, bus compressors already. In particular, when it comes to the attack and release times, it feels like they're not quite right to me. It's just like a smidgen, that's not right when it comes to... I would like, for instance, as I said earlier, something that's between the 10 milliseconds and 20 milliseconds of the attack. It feels to me like the 10 milliseconds are actually grabbing the transients too much and choke the signal a bit too much, whereas the 20 milliseconds are not grabbing enough of these. So I've had a bit of a mixed feeling with the bus compressor. Also, I feel like the punch and the saturate effects are not really super present. They could be enhanced a bit further. But I like the interface, I like working with them, and I like the digital one. I think it works really well. So if you don't have a bus compressor at all, this is quite a decent choice because it allows you to switch between peak and RMS compression, and you've got a few different options. So pretty flexible, and it covers a wide range of applications. But to be honest, there's not much that's missing in order for the SphereComp to be a great compressor. I think there are just a few details when it comes to the bus compressor, and maybe enhance the different parallel settings here a bit more. That would be great. The saturation could be more present, the punch as well a bit more, and that would be amazing. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and comment in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.